Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories. Before we dive in, do you think first impressions are always true? Let us know in the comments below. The Unlikely Bride, a 20-minute lie. Please, I'll give you £10,000. Just pretend to be my girlfriend for 20 minutes. Serena Hayes looked up from the BMW's engine, a spanner in her hand, and a look of utter disbelief on her face. The man in front of her, dressed in a suit that probably cost more than her rent for 3 months, looked desperate. "I'm sorry?" she said, wiping her greasy hands on her blue overalls. "You're asking me to do what?" Ethan Vance ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair, glancing at his Rolex for the 5th time in 2 minutes. "I know it sounds crazy, but my grandmother, she's going to change her will if I don't show up at her birthday with a girlfriend, and her party started an hour ago." "Look, mate," Serena shook her head. "I fix cars. I'm not an actress." "I'm Ethan Vance," he said, moving closer and pulling out his wallet. "Look, I know it's strange, but I really need your help. You just have to come with me. Smile a bit and pretend you know me. 20 minutes max." Dominic Carter, Serena's mentor, emerged from under another car, overhearing the conversation. At 35, he had seen enough rich men to be immediately suspicious. "Serena, just finish his car and let him go," Dominic muttered, loud enough for Ethan to hear. No, wait," Ethan raised his hands. "I understand your suspicion, but I'm serious. My grandmother, Mrs. Evelyn Hayes, is 85 today. She's been asking me for months when I'm going to settle down. She says that if I don't show her I have my priorities straight, she's going to donate her entire inheritance to charity." Serena closed the BMW's bonnet with more force than necessary. "And why don't you have a real girlfriend?" The question took him off guard. Ethan looked down for a moment. Because I've been too busy building my company. The women I meet are only interested in my money." "And now you're offering me money?" Serena crossed her arms. "I don't see the difference." "The difference is that you're honest. You can see it a mile away." Dominic stepped closer to Serena and whispered in her ear, "Don't do it, kid. Men like him only bring trouble." But Serena was thinking of her sister, Anna, still in Caracas, waiting for her immigration papers. She was thinking about the night classes in engineering she couldn't afford. £10,000 was a lot of money for her. "Just 20 minutes, really?" she finally asked. "I swear it. I just need my grandmother to meet you, to see that I'm with someone normal, someone real." "I'm covered in grease." Serena looked at her dirty hands. "I have wet wipes in my car, and you have a beautiful smile. That's all that matters." Dominic scoffed. "Serena, this is a bad idea." "Dominic, it's £10,000, she told him in a low voice. "With that, I can speed up Anna's paperwork and pay for next semester's tuition." Ethan, who had overheard, added, "If you need to change your clothes, we can stop somewhere." "I don't have any fancy clothes," Serena admitted. "And even if I did, I don't have time to go home." "It doesn't matter. You're perfect as you are." There was an uncomfortable silence. Serena looked at Dominic, who was shaking his head, and then at Ethan, who looked on the verge of a nervous breakdown. "All right," she sighed, "but I want half the money now." Ethan immediately pulled out £5,000 notes. "Thank you, really, thank you so much." As Serena wiped her hands and took off her overalls, revealing a simple blouse and jeans underneath, Ethan couldn't help but notice how natural she looked. Without makeup, with her hair in a messy ponytail from work, she had something the women in his social circle had lost a long time ago: authenticity. "How are we supposed to have met?" Serena asked as she got into the repaired BMW. Ethan started the engine. "We can say we met here, at your garage." "That's technically true. And how long have we been dating?" 3 months sounds good. Not too little, not too long." During the drive to Mayfair, Ethan gave her basic details: his full name, what he did for a living, some family names. Serena listened in silence, watching the landscape change from the humble streets of Notting Hill to the wide avenues of the city's wealthy district. "Are you nervous?" he asked, seeing her quiet. "A bit. I don't usually lie." "It's not exactly lying. It's more like acting. It's the same, isn't it?" Ethan didn't know how to answer. When they arrived at the mansion, Serena couldn't hide her surprise. The house was enormous, with perfectly manicured gardens and a fountain at the entrance. "Good heavens," she murmured. "It's just that I've never seen such a big house." Ethan felt bad for the first time. He got out of the car and opened her door like a gentleman. "Serena, just be yourself, okay? My grandmother is going to love you." But when they entered the ballroom filled with elegant people, Mrs. Evelyn Hayes, a small but imposing 85-year-old woman, was waiting for them with a smile that didn't reach her shrewd eyes. "Ethan, my dear grandson," the old woman said, approaching with a firm step, "and you must be the famous girlfriend I've heard so much about." Ethan tensed. He hadn't told his grandmother about any girlfriend. "Grandma, this is Serena Hayes. A pleasure to meet you, ma'am." Serena gave a slight curtsy, feeling completely out of place. Mrs. Hayes took Serena's hands in hers, studying her intently. "What hard-working hands you have, my dear. It's clear you know what effort is." "I'm a mechanic, ma'am." "A mechanic?" The old woman's eyes twinkled. "How wonderful! My grandson finally brings home a woman with a real trade." Ethan breathed a sigh of relief, but his calm was short-lived. "In fact," Mrs. Hayes continued with a mischievous smile, "I'm so delighted to meet you that I've decided to invite you both to spend the next month with me at the country estate in Somerset. It will be perfect for us to get to know each other better." Ethan's face went pale. Serena felt the ground move under her feet. "A month?" Ethan stammered. "Yes, my grandson. It's all arranged. We leave tomorrow morning." And with that sweet but determined smile that only grandmothers can give, Mrs. Hayes had turned a 20-minute lie into a situation neither of them knew how to escape. The little lie just turned into a month-long living arrangement. What do you think will happen when these two very different worlds collide? Share your thoughts and subscribe for the next chapter of this hilarious and heartwarming story. A month? Serena paced back and forth in the mansion's car park. "Ethan, this wasn't part of the deal." I know. He loosened his tie, sweating despite the cool night air. "But if we say no, she'll get suspicious. My grandmother is very sharp. And what am I supposed to do about my job? My life. Dominic is going to kill me." Ethan approached her slowly, like a man approaching a wounded animal. "I'll pay you £50,000 for the whole month." Serena stopped dead. "50,000? "Yes, and I'll cover all your expenses during that time. Food, new clothes if you need them, everything." The numbers swirled in Serena's head. With £50,000, she could pay for Anna's entire immigration process, her own university enrollment for the next semester, and still have money left over to help Dominic with the garage. "It's a lot of money," she murmured. "It's nothing for me, but for you, I suppose it means something." Serena's tone hardened. "Of course, for you, who drives a BM and lives in a mansion, 50,000 is spare change." "I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry, you're right." Serena pulled out her phone and dialed Dominic's number. "Dominic, it's me. No, nothing bad happened. No, it didn't. Listen to me carefully because this is going to sound crazy." She explained the situation in a low voice, while Ethan waited nervously a few feet away. He could hear Dominic's agitated voice from where he stood. "Yes, I know it sounds insane. Dominic, it's a lot of money, isn't it? Do you think you can manage the garage on your own for a month?" The conversation lasted 10 minutes. When Serena hung up, she looked exhausted. "What did he say?" Ethan asked. "That I'm crazy. That men like you only bring trouble. That this money will cost me dearly. And what do you think?" Serena looked him directly in the eye for the first time that night. I think my sister needs to get out of Caracas. I think I want to study engineering. And I think 50,000 pounds can change my life. So is it a yes? It's a yes, but with conditions. The ones you want. First, if I ever feel uncomfortable or in danger, I leave. Second, nothing. You know, nothing physical that isn't absolutely necessary for the act. Third, you respect me. I may be poor, but I'm not a fool. Of course, I promise. They shook hands to seal the deal. Ethan's hand was soft. Serena's had calluses from hard work. The next day, the journey to Somerset was awkward at first. Ethan drove his BMW through the British countryside, while Serena watched the landscape change from city to small villages. Does your family know that this isn't real? She asked after 2 hours of silence. Only my assistant. And now Dominic, I suppose. Doesn't it bother you to lie to your grandmother? Ethan took a moment to reply. My grandmother wants me to be happy. If she sees I'm with someone good, she'll be at peace. It's not a complete lie. How is it not a lie? Well, if I'm with you, and I do like you. Serena didn't know what to say to that. Mrs. Hayes's country estate was straight out of a film. White walls, red-tiled roofs, a central courtyard with an old fountain. The staff greeted Ethan with genuine affection, and Serena with respectful curiosity. Welcome home, Mrs. Hayes said, showing them their rooms. Ethan, you're in your usual room. Serena, my dear, I've prepared the flower room for you. Separate rooms, Ethan whispered to Serena. Better that way, she replied. The first few days were strange. At breakfast, Mrs. Hayes asked innocent questions that made them both nervous. How exactly did you two meet? His car broke down near my garage, Serena replied, sticking to the truth. And what did you like most about my grandson? Serena looked at Ethan, searching for something truthful to say. He's persistent. When he wants something, he doesn't give up easily. Ethan smiled, unsure if it was a compliment or a criticism. Little by little, the estate's routine began to relax them. In the mornings, Ethan checked emails, while Serena helped in the kitchen, fascinated by the traditional recipes Mrs. Hayes taught her. We also make corn cakes in Caracas, but they're different, Serena told the cook while kneading dough for tortillas. Show us how you make them, my dear. In the afternoons, they took walks through the fields. At first, they walked in silence, but gradually they began to talk. Why did you come to London? Ethan asked one afternoon. Things were difficult for my family. An uncle told me there were more opportunities here. Dominic taught me the trade when I arrived. Don't you miss your country? Every day. But my sister is studying there, and if I work hard here, she can have a better future. Ethan had never met anyone who sacrificed so much for their family. And you? Why do you live in London if you're from Scotland? My dad expanded the company here when I was a child. London became my home. Scotland is just where I was born. One night there was a festival in the nearby village. Mrs. Hayes insisted they go. Young people need to have fun, she said, ignoring Ethan's protests about having work to do. In the village square, with a folk band playing and whole families dancing, Serena looked completely in her element. She helped fix the sound system when it broke, earning the applause and thanks of the whole village. How did you know how to do that? Ethan asked, impressed. Circuits are circuits, whether in a car or a speaker. That night, under the stars as they walked back to the estate, something changed between them. Thank you, Ethan said suddenly. For what? For reminding me what it feels like to live a simple life, without pressure, without meetings, without having to impress anyone. Serena looked at him. Is your life, Always. Since I can remember, my dad told me I had to be better, earn more, achieve more. It was never enough. Sounds exhausting. It is. They stopped in front of the fountain in the central courtyard. The water sparkled under the moon. "Can I ask you something personal?" Serena said. "Really? It can't just be about work. Why did you never marry?" Ethan sat on the edge of the fountain. "Because I never found someone who saw me. They only saw the money, the company, what I could give them. You're the first person in years who treats me like a normal person. You're rich but normal." Ethan laughed. "You eat, you sleep. You worry about your family, like everyone else." For the first time in a long time, Ethan felt truly seen. The following days, they spent more time together. Ethan taught her to ride horses. Serena taught him to change the oil in the estate's tractors. They laughed more. They argued about small things. They shared stories from their very different childhoods. One afternoon, while helping to repair a fence, Ethan realized that he hadn't thought about work in days. And Serena was surprised to find herself singing a song Ethan had put on the workshop radio. "You realize we've been here for 2 weeks," he said. "Time passes quickly when you're not looking at the clock all day," she replied. That night, during dinner, Mrs. Hayes watched them with a satisfied smile. "You look happy, my dears." Serena and Ethan looked at each other, and for a moment, they both forgot that it was all an act. But in the flower room, alone with her thoughts, Serena touched her heart, which beat faster every time Ethan looked at her. And at the same time, in his room, Ethan wondered when he had stopped thinking of Serena as an employee and started thinking of her as something more. The month was nearing its end, and neither of them wanted to admit they were no longer acting. The pretend romance is blurring into reality. What will happen when their time at the estate is over? What will they choose, the lie or the truth of their feelings? Share your predictions in the comments and subscribe for the powerful conclusion. The last week at the estate passed in a blur. Ethan and Serena had found a comfortable rhythm. Family breakfasts with Mrs. Hayes, afternoons exploring the grounds, evenings talking in the courtyard under the stars. But both knew that time was running out. "We're going back to the city tomorrow," Ethan said on Thursday night, as they walked among the lemon trees. "Yes, I know." Serena plucked a leaf and spun it between her fingers. "Dominic must be furious with me. A month is a long time. I can pay him for the trouble. Not everything can be solved with money, Ethan." There was a new distance in Serena's tone, one that hadn't been there for weeks. "Are you all right?" "Yes, it's strange. In a month, my normal life will return, and all this will feel like a dream." Ethan stopped. "It doesn't have to be like that." "What do you mean? We could keep seeing each other. As friends, without the act." Serena looked at him with an expression he couldn't decipher. "Ethan, you and I live in very different worlds. This worked here, on the estate, but in the real city. Why can't it work? Because you have meetings with millionaires, and my hands are covered in grease. Because you eat in fancy restaurants, and I eat tacos from a street vendor. Because this," she gestured between them, "was nice, but it's not real." The words hurt Ethan more than he expected. "Was none of this real to you?" Serena took too long to answer. The act was so good that sometimes even I believed it. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He decided to confess to Serena what he really felt. He no longer cared about the money, the deal, or anything else. At some point during those 4 weeks, he had truly fallen in love. He got up early to look for her, but overheard her voice in the courtyard. She was on the phone with Dominic. "No, Dominic, I know you warned me. Yes, you're right. It was crazy. I can't wait for this to be over and get back to my real life. I know the money isn't worth it if it complicates my heart. Yes, I've learned my lesson." Ethan felt a knife twist in his chest. Serena was anxious for it all to end. To her, he was just a bothersome job she couldn't wait to be rid of. He returned to his room without a sound. During breakfast, He acted as if nothing had happened, but Serena noticed his distance. "Is everything all right?" she asked when Mrs. Hayes left to say goodbye to the workers. "Perfect," he said, just eager to get back to work. The drive back to London was silent. Ethan drove with his eyes fixed on the road, and Serena watched out the window, confused by his sudden change. When they arrived at Dominic's garage, Ethan didn't even turn off the engine. "Here you are." He handed her an envelope with the remaining money. £5,000, as we agreed. "Thanks for your performance." The word performance sounded cold and professional. "Ethan, did something happen? You're so—" "Nothing. Everything's perfect. Mission accomplished." Serena took the money, but didn't get out of the car immediately. "Are we going to see each other again?" "I don't think it's necessary. My grandmother is now convinced I'm a serious, committed man. I no longer need your services." The words "your services" were a slap. Serena got out of the car without another word. "Serena, wait." Ethan's voice softened for a moment. She turned back with a flicker of hope. "Have a good life." And he drove off, leaving her on the street with the money in her hands and an emptiness in her chest she didn't understand. Dominic ran out of the garage when he heard the engine fade. "How was it, kid? You look— Are you crying?" "No, I'm not crying." She wiped her eyes quickly. "Just got some dust in my eye." "What happened with Prince Charming?" "Nothing. Everything went as planned. Here's the money." She showed him the envelope. "Serena." "Dominic, please, I don't want to talk about this now." That afternoon, while organizing her papers for Anna's immigration process, she found other documents in the envelope. Official papers, sealed, completely filled out. She ran to Dominic. "Dominic, look at this." "What is it?" "They're Anna's papers. All the documents, the visas, everything. It's all approved." Dominic checked the seals. "Kid, this costs a lot of money. More than the $50,000 he gave you." "I don't understand. When did he do this?" Dominic pointed to the dates. "These papers started being processed 3 weeks ago, when you were still at the estate." Serena sank into a chair. "He did this without telling me. Why would he do that if it was just a job for him?" "I don't know, Dominic. I don't know." She immediately dialed Ethan's number. It rang several times before going to voicemail. "Ethan, it's Serena. I found my sister's papers. I need to talk to you. Please call me." He never called. For the next few days, she tried to contact him several times. His assistant said he was in meetings, then that he was traveling. Finally, that he couldn't take personal calls. A week later, Dominic arrived with a newspaper. "Look at this, Serena." In the business section was a photo of Ethan boarding a plane. The headline, "Tycoon Ethan Vance travels to Barcelona to expand European operations. Sources say he may be staying there indefinitely." Serena felt something break inside her. "He left," she murmured. "Without saying goodbye?" "Without saying goodbye." That night, alone in her small apartment, Serena allowed herself to cry for the first time since she had returned. She didn't cry for the money or the lost opportunity. She cried because at some point during those 4 weeks, she had stopped acting so well. And now she understood why Ethan had left so coldly. He had discovered her true feelings. He had overheard the conversation with Dominic and had thought that to her, it had all been a lie. But it was too late. Ethan was on another continent, and she had to rebuild her life with a heart that was no longer completely hers. The next day, with swollen eyes, but determined, she enrolled in university using the money he had given her. If it was going to hurt to remember him, at least it would be while she built the future they had both imagined for her. But every night before falling asleep, she wondered if he also thought about those walks among the lemon trees, and if he also missed the sound of the fountain under the stars. A painful misunderstanding and a heartbreaking departure. Will Serena's tearful message reach Ethan? What will happen now that they are worlds apart? Share your emotional insights and subscribe for the continuation. 3 months had passed since Ethan left for Barcelona, and Serena had established a routine that kept her busy. Engineering classes in the mornings, work at the garage in the afternoons, homework late into the night. Anything to avoid thinking about the blue eyes that had looked at her as if she were the most valuable person in the world. "Sweetheart, your sister is here," Dominic shouted from the garage entrance. Serena dropped the spanner she was holding. After so many months of paperwork and waiting, Anna was finally here. She ran to the entrance and launched herself into the arms of a 22-year-old, thin and with the same expressive eyes as Serena. "Sister, I can't believe you're here." "I can't believe it either." Anna was crying with emotion. "When I got the approved papers, I thought it was a mistake." "How was the trip?" "Long, but worth it." "Serena, your flat is so nice. Small, but nice. Wait until you see the garage. Dominic is going to love you." The following weeks were the happiest Serena had lived in a long time. Anna adapted quickly to life in London, got a job at a cafe near the university, and enrolled in language classes to improve her accent. But Anna was observant, like all younger sisters. "Who is he?" she asked one night, as they had tacos at the small apartment table. "Who is who?" "The man who makes you sad. You come home from work, check your phone, sigh, and make that face as if you've lost something important." Serena almost choked on her taco. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Serena, we're sisters. I've known you forever. There's someone, isn't there?" "It's complicated. Love is always complicated. Tell me." Serena told her the whole story. The broken BMW, the crazy proposal, the month at the estate, the feelings that grew without permission, Ethan's cold departure. "And you never tried to find him?" "Anna, he went to Spain. If he had wanted to talk to me, he would have answered my calls. Or maybe he's also hurt by something you don't understand." "What do you mean?" "Men are strange, sis. You yourself said he changed overnight. Something happened that hurt him." Serena hadn't thought about that possibility. Meanwhile, in Barcelona, Ethan was living his own version of hell. His company had grown faster than ever. He had multi-million-pound contracts and international recognition. But every night, in his luxury flat with a view of the Mediterranean Sea, he felt completely empty. His assistant, Helena, entered his office with a worried expression. "Mr. Vance, your grandmother is on the phone. It's the 3rd time she's called this week. Tell her I'm in a meeting." "I told her that yesterday, and the day before. She says if you don't talk to her, she's going to get on a plane and come here herself." Ethan sighed and took the call. "Hello, Grandma. Ethan Vance, what did you do with that nice girl?" "What girl?" "Don't play dumb with me, grandson. Serena, the mechanic, the woman you fell in love with at my estate." "Grandma, that was just what? Do you think I'm blind? I saw you together. The way you looked at her, the way she looked at you. You can't fake that." "It's over, Grandma. It doesn't matter anymore." "It doesn't matter? Because you're a coward?" "Grandma!" "It's the truth. Your grandfather was proud like you. Do you know how many years we lost fighting over foolishness before we got married? This is different." "No, my child. It's exactly the same. Pride is the enemy of love." That night, Ethan couldn't concentrate on work. He walked through the streets of Barcelona, thinking about his grandmother's words. The next day, he received an unexpected call. "Ethan Vance?" "Yes, this is Dominic Carter, Serena's mentor." Ethan's heart raced. "Dominic, did something happen? Is Serena okay?" "She's fine. But I need to ask you a question, lad. Tell me, why did you process her sister's papers without telling Serena anything?" I wanted to help her. I saw how important it was to her." "And why did you leave without saying goodbye like a decent person?" Ethan took a moment to reply. "Because I overheard a conversation. Serena was telling you she couldn't wait for it all to be over, that she had learned her lesson about not complicating her heart with money. Dominic laughed. Oh, lad, do you know what lesson she had learned? Which one? That 50,000 pounds isn't worth it if you fall in love with the boss. She was telling me she had fallen in love with you, and that wasn't in the contract. Ethan felt the world stop. What? What you heard. That girl has been walking around looking like a lost puppy for 3 months. She goes to school. She works with me. She studies. But anyone with eyes can see she's missing something. Or someone. When Dominic hung up, Ethan stood with the phone in his hand for 5 minutes. Then he made a decision. Helena, cancel all my meetings for next week. Are you feeling all right? I feel better than I have in months. And book me a flight to London. It's time to fix the biggest mistake of my life. But Ethan didn't know that his plan to return for Serena would have to wait. The next day, his senior partner presented him with a proposal he couldn't refuse, a sustainable vehicle project that required his immediate attention in Barcelona. Destiny, it seemed, was not yet ready to reunite them. A misunderstanding of a lifetime. Do you think Ethan and Serena will ever get a second chance at love? What will it take to finally bring them back together? Share your hopes and emotions in the comments, and subscribe for the beautiful conclusion. 6 months after the trip to Barcelona, Ethan was back in London, but not for the reasons Dominic would have expected. His new company, Green Innovation, had won a massive contract with the UK government to develop sustainable public transport systems. Are you sure you want to set up the offices in Notting Hill? His assistant asked, as they reviewed possible locations. There are more elegant options in Belgravia or Mayfair. Notting Hill is fine. I like the area. What he didn't tell his assistant was that he had chosen that borough hoping, in secret, to run into a certain mechanic with expressive eyes. But Ethan didn't look for her directly. His pride, though wounded, was still intact. If fate wanted them to meet again, it would happen naturally. Serena, for her part, was living the best moment of her academic career. She had finished her first year of engineering with top grades and had just received a call that would change everything. Miss Hayes? I'm Ms. Evans from Tech Solutions Consultancy Firm. We have a very interesting proposal for you. For me? Your thermodynamics professor recommended your project on engine energy efficiency. We need a consultant for a very important government project. What is it? Sustainable transport systems. The pay is very good, and it would be an incredible experience for your CV. Serena accepted without hesitation. A week later, she arrived early at the Tech Solutions offices, nervous but excited. It was her first real professional consultancy. Good morning, the receptionist told her. The presentation is in the boardroom on the 10th floor. The lift is at the back. Serena reviewed her notes one last time as she went up. She had worked all night preparing to impress the clients. The lift doors opened, and she entered an elegant room filled with men in suits. In the back, with his back to her, a man reviewed documents on a laptop. Good morning, Serena said. I'm engineer Serena Hayes from Tech Solutions. The man turned slowly, and time stopped. It was Ethan. The papers fell from her hands. He got up from his chair as if he had seen a ghost. Serena, he whispered. Ethan, she replied, her voice barely audible. The rest of the people in the room looked at them with curiosity. Mr. Vance, a colleague cleared his throat. I see you already know each other. Perfect. Mr. Vance, Engineer Hayes will be your technical consultant for the project. Your consultant? Serena found her voice. He's the client? Ethan Vance, Director of Green Innovation. Serena Hayes, our best junior consultant. The formal introduction sounded absurd given the circumstances. I need a moment. Serena left the room in a hurry. Ethan followed her into the hallway. Serena, wait. What are you doing here, in London, on this project? I work here now. I came back 3 months ago. 3 months? Serena's voice rose. You've been in London for 3 months, and you didn't... Didn't what? You didn't look for me. after how things ended. How things ended? You're the one who left without an explanation. Because I overheard your conversation with Dominic. You said you couldn't wait for everything to be over. Because I was falling in love with you, you idiot. The hallway fell silent. Several employees passing by stopped to stare. Serena realized what she had said and blushed completely. I didn't mean to. I have to go. Serena, please. I can't do this, Ethan. I can't work with you. I'm going to ask Ms. Evans to send another consultant. Are you running away? I'm not running away. I'm being practical. Practical, or are you scared? I'm not scared of anything. Then prove it. Stay on the project. Serena looked him in the eyes, those blue eyes she had seen in her dreams for months. This is just work. Nothing personal. Nothing personal, he agreed. But they both knew it was a lie. The next few days were torture. They worked together reviewing blueprints, discussing technical specifications, and visiting public transport depots. Serena was brilliant at her job, and Ethan couldn't help but admire how much she had grown professionally. Your proposal for the bus engine modifications is brilliant, he told her one afternoon as they reviewed calculations. Thanks, it's just basic engineering logic. No, it's more than that, it's innovative. Working with Serena reminded Ethan why he had fallen in love with her. She wasn't just beautiful, she was intelligent, dedicated, and had a way of seeing solutions where others saw problems. For Serena, seeing Ethan in a professional setting was discovering a new side of him. He was a natural leader, respectful of his employees, and genuinely committed to making a positive difference in the world. One evening, working late on the final calculations, the rain began to fall heavily outside. I think we'd better go, Serena said, looking out the window. It looks like it's going to get worse. As if the universe had heard her, a flash of lightning lit up the sky, and the power went out in the whole building. Great, Ethan murmured. Are there any torches? They should be at reception, but it's closed. They were left in silence in the dark, only lit by occasional lightning flashes. Ethan, Serena said after a while. Yes? Why did you really come back? To London. He took a moment to reply. Because Barcelona never felt like home. London does. And that's all? No. I also came back because I'm an idiot who didn't know how to value what I had when I had it. Another lightning flash lit up the room, and Serena could see the sincere expression on Ethan's face. I was an idiot too, she admitted. I should have been clearer about what I felt. And what did you feel? On the estate? Serena took a deep breath. I felt that for the first time in my life I had found someone who really saw me. Not as the poor mechanic, not as the immigrant who needed help. You saw me as Serena. Just Serena. It's because that's what you are, the most real woman I've ever met in my life. Ethan, no, let me finish. These past 6 months have been the worst of my life. I succeeded at everything, but it meant nothing because I didn't have the right person to share it with. And who is the right person? You, Serena. It's always been you. In the darkness, they moved slowly towards each other. When their lips met, it was as if all the months of separation, pain, and misunderstanding were erased in a second. The light returned at that moment, but neither of them pulled away. And now what? Serena whispered. Now we start over. No lies, no acts, no contracts, just you and me. Are you sure? Because if we do this, we do it right. No running off to Barcelona when things get tough. I promise. This time, I'm staying. And when they kissed again, under the lights that had just returned, they both knew that this time, it was forever. A breathtaking reconciliation. Do you believe their love can overcome the pain of the past? What does their future hold now that they've found true honesty? Share your heartfelt thoughts and subscribe for the beautiful culmination. The next few months were like learning to walk again, but this time together and without pretense. Ethan and Serena decided to take things slowly. building their relationship on solid foundations of honesty and mutual respect. Their first joint project was a resounding success. The modified buses with Serena's specifications reduced emissions by 40%, and the government was already talking about expanding the program nationwide. "Do you know what this means?" Ethan asked one afternoon as they reviewed the environmental impact reports. "That we're going to be very busy for the next few years? That I need a permanent partner, not just a consultant?" Serena looked at him, surprised. "Are you offering me a job?" "I'm offering you a partnership, 50-50. Your name in the company, your ideas, your future." "Ethan, that's too much." "Why? You've contributed the best innovations to the project. Without you, this would have just been another government contract. But I'm only just finishing my degree, and you already have more practical ideas than engineers with 20 years of experience." Serena knew he was right, but accepting meant completely changing her life. "Can I think about it? Take all the time you need." That night, Serena went to the garage where Dominic was waiting for her with a mischievous smile. "How's everything with Prince Charming 2.0? "Dominic, it's not funny." "Of course it's funny. You've had the look of a kid on Christmas morning ever since you two made up." "He offered me to be his partner in the company." Dominic whistled. "That boy doesn't do things by halves. What do you think?" "I think you're scared of success." "I'm not scared of success. I'm scared of things changing so much that I no longer know who I am." "My child, success doesn't change who you are. It just gives you more tools to be who you've always been." Meanwhile, Ethan had organized a family dinner at Mrs. Hayes's house. The old woman, now 86, but with the energy of a 60-year-old, welcomed Serena with a hug that lasted 5 minutes. "My dear granddaughter," she told her. "How have you been, my child?" "Well, Grandma, very well. And is my grandson behaving as he should?" "Grandma," Ethan protested, "you're asking Serena, not me." "He's behaving," Serena smiled, "though he's still very stubborn. He gets that from his grandfather. But stubborn men are the ones who love the most when they learn to love." During dinner, Mrs. Hayes told them she had been working on something special. "Remember I told you I was going to donate my money to a foundation for women in engineering?" "Yes," they both replied. "Well, it's ready. It's called the Serena Hayes Foundation for Women in Science." Serena almost choked on her food. "What?" "You heard right, my child. Your story inspired me so much that I wanted other young women to have the same opportunities you have taken advantage of." "Grandma, I can't accept that. It's too much of an honor." "It's done, my child. The papers are already signed." Ethan took Serena's hand under the table. "You deserve it," he whispered. 2 weeks later was the official launch of the Sustainable Transport Program. The event was held at the city's convention center, with the mayor, government secretaries, and national and international media present. Serena was more nervous than she had ever been in her life. "What if I get the numbers wrong during the presentation?" "You won't," Anna told her as she helped her get ready. "You know those numbers better than your own name." "And what if they ask me something I don't know? You say you'll look into it and answer later. Smart people do that. And what if—" "Serena," Anna took her by the shoulders. "Breathe. You're the most prepared person in that room. Act like it." The event started perfectly. Government officials spoke about the importance of innovation. The media documented every moment, and the project's numbers impressed everyone present. When it was Ethan's turn to present the technical aspect, he surprised everyone. "Before I talk about our project specifications, I want to introduce you to the person who truly made this innovation possible. She's not just my technical consultant. She's the brilliant mind behind every improvement you'll hear about today." He looked directly at Serena. "But more importantly than that, she's the woman who taught me that true success is measured by the positive impact you have on the lives of others. So, today, I want to announce that Serena Hayes is no longer just my consultant." Serena's heart leaped out of her chest. She's my equal partner at Green Innovation, and I hope she'll also accept to be my partner in everything else. Ethan got off the podium, walked to where Serena was sitting, and knelt in front of her with a ring in his hand. The convention center fell into complete silence. Serena Hayes, will you marry me? Not because I need to pretend for my grandmother, not because it's good for business, but because I can't imagine another day of my life without you. Serena had tears in her eyes, but a smile that lit up the entire room. Ethan Vance, she said loud enough for everyone to hear. Yes, I want to marry you, but only if you promise never to make an important decision without consulting me. Like making you my partner without asking you? Exactly like that. I promise. When he put the ring on her finger and they kissed, the entire room erupted in applause. Dominic, who was sitting in the front row with Anna, wiped a tear from his eye. That boy finally learned how to do things right, he murmured. A public proposal, an earned partnership, and a love story for the ages. What's your favorite part of this couple's journey to true love? Share your emotional insights and subscribe for the beautiful finale. The wedding took place 6 months later at Mrs. Hayes' estate, in the very courtyard where they had once walked, pretending to be in love, and found the truth. Dominic walked Serena down the makeshift aisle, where Ethan was waiting for her with the priest. Anna was the maid of honor, and the estate workers had decorated everything with flowers from the region. Nervous? His best man asked Ethan. Not at all. For the first time in my life, I'm completely sure of something. When Serena reached the altar, dressed in a simple white gown she had chosen from a local boutique, Ethan knew that all the mistakes, misunderstandings, and months of separation had been worth it to get to that moment. Their vows were simple, but profound. Serena, Ethan said, you taught me that true love isn't about pretending to be someone else, but about finding someone who loves you for who you really are. Ethan, you taught me that the greatest wealth isn't in a bank account, but in having the right person to share every day with. When the priest declared them husband and wife, Mrs. Hayes applauded louder than anyone. Finally, she shouted, a grandson who knows how to choose well. The party lasted until dawn, with mariachis, traditional food, and dances that blended the Spanish, Venezuelan, and British traditions of both families. At the end of the night, Ethan and Serena sat in the same spot where they had had their first honest conversation months earlier. You know what's the funniest thing about all this? Serena said. What? That it started with a broken-down BMW and a lie. Do you regret the lie? The lie, yes. The broken-down BMW, never. Ethan laughed and kissed her under the same starry sky that had witnessed their first fake love, and now their true and forever love. Hey, Ethan, Serena said suddenly. What? You never paid me the other £5,000 from the first time. Seriously, on our wedding night, you're going to charge me? Who says you can't mix love with business? And laughing like two teenagers in love, they headed into their new life together, knowing that the best was just beginning. Green Innovation. Restrepo Vance now occupied 3 floors of a modern building in the heart of London. The walls were decorated with international awards, photographs of their projects in over 10 countries, and a framed photo of a broken-down blue BMW that new employees always asked about. Why was it there? Serena, now 28 with a master's in sustainable engineering, reviewed the blueprints for the company's most ambitious project, a completely electric public transport system for Bogota, Colombia. Ready for the trip? Ethan asked, entering their shared office. Almost. I just need to review the energy efficiency calculations one more time. Serena, you've reviewed them 15 times. They're perfect. It's just that it's Bogota, Ethan. It's my home country. I want it to be perfect. Ethan approached and hugged her from behind as she continued working. It's going to be perfect, because you designed it. The next day, they flew to Bogota to present the project that could change public transport for all of Colombia. But before that, they had an important stop to make. Are you sure Mrs. Hayes will be all right, managing the foundation alone while we're away? Ethan asked as they packed. Ethan, your grandmother is 89 and just learned how to use Zoom to give international conferences on women's empowerment. I think she can handle the foundation for 2 weeks. The Serena Hayes Foundation had grown exponentially in 5 years. It now offered scholarships to over 500 young women in the UK, Colombia, and Spain to study STEM fields. Besides, Serena continued, Anna will be there to help her. Anna, now 27, had graduated as a business administrator and was the foundation's executive director. She had also just gotten engaged to an engineering professor she had met at one of the foundation's conferences. Have you told your sister about... Ethan discreetly gestured to Serena's belly. Not yet. I want to wait until after the presentation in Bogota. Serena was 3 months pregnant, something they had discovered 2 weeks earlier and had kept secret while they got used to the idea of being parents. Do you think it's a boy or a girl? Ethan asked. It doesn't matter. I just hope they're as stubborn as you and as determined as me. The world isn't ready for that combination. The flight to Bogota was nostalgic for Serena. After 7 years, she was returning to her home country, but now as a successful businesswoman and not as the young woman who had fled from financial hardship. El Dorado Airport welcomed her with familiar smells and sounds she had missed without realizing it. How do you feel? Ethan asked as they waited for their luggage. Like I'm home, but also a foreigner. It's strange. Her mother, Maria, was waiting for them at the airport with a huge smile and tears in her eyes. My child, she hugged Serena as if she hadn't seen her in decades instead of months. And my favorite son-in-law. I'm your only son-in-law, mother-in-law. Ethan laughed. That's why you're my favorite. Serena's childhood home was small, but full of love. The walls were covered with photos. Serena graduating from university, the wedding at the estate, newspaper articles about her projects, and a huge photo of the day she received the National Technological Innovation Award. My child, the whole neighborhood is excited to meet your husband, her mother told her while preparing a traditional stew. And to see you. They can't believe the Serena from the block is now on international news. Mom, I'm still the same Serena. That's not true, Ethan interrupted. Now you're more confident, more determined, more impressive every day. See why I like this boy? Maria told her daughter. The project presentation at the government palace was a resounding success. Serena spoke in perfect Spanish, with the Colombian accent she had automatically regained, while Ethan presented the financial and implementation aspects. The system you're proposing could reduce air pollution in Bogota by up to 60%, the Minister of Transport said. When can we start? Tomorrow if you want, Serena replied with a smile. After the presentation, as they had dinner at one of the most elegant restaurants in the city, Ethan asked her a question he had been thinking about for days. Do you regret leaving Colombia? Serena contemplated the question as she looked at the lights of Bogota from the restaurant window. No. If I hadn't left, I would never have met you. I would never have discovered what I'm capable of. But I'm glad to be back, even if it's only for a short time. What if I told you we could stay longer? The project will need direct supervision for at least 2 years. Would you move to Colombia for me? I would move to the moon for you. Well, Colombia is closer, and our son or daughter could meet both their grandmothers. Our son or daughter. Serena smiled and took Ethan's hand, placing it on her belly. Surprise! Ethan was speechless for a few seconds. Then his face lit up with the biggest smile Serena had ever seen. Seriously? When? In about 6 months. Ethan got up from the table, picked her up, ignoring the curious glances of the other diners, and kissed her passionately. I love you, Serena Hayes Vance. And I love you, Ethan Vance Hayes. Hey, that's not your legal name. Who says I can't invent my own names? 6 months later, at the most modern clinic in Bogota, Isabella Carmen Vance Hayes was born. A girl with her father's blue eyes and her mother's fierce determination. Mrs. Hayes, who had traveled especially from London to meet her first great-granddaughter, held her with trembling hands, but a firm heart. "Welcome to the world, my princess," she whispered. "You are going to do great things, just like your mother." Dominic, who had also traveled for the birth, looked at the baby with the pride of an adopted grandfather. "This girl is going to change the world," he said. "She has it in her blood." "How do you know?" Ethan asked. "Because she's already causing trouble. Look how she's grabbing my finger. She won't let go." Everyone laughed. That night, as Isabella slept between Serena and Ethan in the hospital room, they talked in whispers about the future. "You know what's the most incredible thing about all this?" Serena said. "What?" "That it started with a lie, and it became the biggest truth of my life." "You mean we pretended to be in love?" "I mean that when I was a kid, I dreamed of being an engineer, having a family, and changing the world. I thought I could only have one of those things. I never thought I could have all three. And now? Now I know that when you find the right person, you don't have to choose between your dreams. You can have them all." Ethan kissed her forehead gently. "You know what my goal for the next 50 years is? To make sure you never have to choose between anything. That you can always have all your dreams. What if I dream of conquering Mars? Then we're going to need a very big spaceship." Isabella chose that moment to wake up and cry, as if protesting at being excluded from the conversation. "She's already giving her opinion," Serena laughed as she picked her up. "She's definitely your daughter," Ethan said. And so, in a hospital room in Bogota, with their daughter in their arms and the love of their life by their side, Serena Hayes knew that her story had found the perfect ending. Or rather, the perfect beginning. Because some love stories don't end with, "and they lived happily ever after." They end with, "and their happiness was just beginning."